What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks. And we back in the building, you feel me? It's True Talks. Cause True Talks, alright? Let's get straight right into it. So you already know, man. Obviously, we out here. There's no doubt here. There's no drought here. Before I get into anything and before I get into the video, please click the, subscribe button, share, like, and subscribe. You already know. Click that notification button so you know when I'm here. Because I'm here. You feel me? Like I said, you already know every time I say this, I appreciate y'all all the time. Make sure you click the notification button. Just, spread the word. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. You already know. So now that we got that out the way, you already know, man. Obviously, there's some things going on, and obviously, in the last couple of days, we've seen how they've been talking about it in the media. If you've been paying attention, I know in the off season people don't really keep up unless it's like hot topics, but they did talk about Kevin Durant and the whole, is he the greatest scorer of all time? And people kind of gave their reasons, and it's been a topic that's been brought up. I've thought about it for a while. And if you follow my IG, again, click the link below too as well to subscribe or follow my my all my social media platforms, Twitter, IG, all that. But I've been talking about this on IG somewhat, and I've talked about this in the past. If you follow me and you pay attention, and obviously I've talked about just how I know to the naked eye and to the obviously the basic fan, even if you're casual, even if you are a purist type of fan, just fans in general is kind of like the greatest scores normally is between you hear Kobe, MJ. Some people try to throw Bron in, obviously the Bron fans and stuff like that. But first, before I even go into the greatest scorer kind of conversation, let's separate the two, because people don't know that there's a difference between greatest scorer and most skilled player or most skilled scorer, or whatever you want to put, right? There's a difference. The same thing when people don't understand the greatest player of all time, right? The greatest of all time versus the most skilled of all time or the best of all time, right? So, obviously there's a differentiation there, and you have to understand that to even understand the further conversation I'm going to talk about when it comes to KD being the greatest scorer, or if he is the greatest scorer of all time, and we'll dissect that. But this is something that's been talked about, like I said, for a while. We heard Gilbert Arenas talk about it, and he said that KD was. And again, before I even get into that, you have to understand the difference, because, the greatest scorer of all time or the greatest scorer period normally is just, it adds not only just skill, right, and not only just where you score from on the floor, right, as a 3-level score and all that type of stuff, but it also compiles efficiency, right? You have efficiencies, meaning the greatest scorer, meaning like, yes, being unguardable is part of it, meaning unlimited ability, all that type of stuff. No limited amount of limited amount of weaknesses, or unlimited amount of skill that you have no weakness, right? And when you look at it, that kind of goes hand in hand in skill, score, or most skilled, and in the greatest score, right? But in the greatest score, you have to compile efficiency, right? You have to compile, like, that to me is being great at it. It means at a high percentage, at a high win rate. That same thing goes for like the conversation of Michael Jordan versus even Kobe and others, right? In terms of the GOAT and the greatest of all time. It's a higher win percentage in terms of just going to the finals, 6-0, not losing like that. The higher you go with the percentages and being great, that's what kind of defines greatness. And it's like, that greatest title can't really be achieved unless you not only do similar or in that same ballpark, but now that efficiency, that compilation of greatness in terms of least amount of losses and all that type of stuff adds into it. The same thing could be said about greatest score. You add the efficiency, you add the percentages a little bit, not the advanced efficient effective rate or efficiency rate or all this type of stuff, and efficiency, field goal percentage, and whatever the case is, and all that type of stuff. We go to the basic, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. Those are what tells you, did you shoot were you 3 for 10 from the three? Where it's not compiling and doing math and whatever. That's not how the game is actually recorded in terms of just the stats, right? We go by the basic stat of field goal percentage and 3-point percentage. When you compile that in, you being a lead in those categories is going to now help you in the greatest. Now, when it comes to the skill, it's not necessarily the percentage and all that stuff don't matter. It's just rating your ability in terms of your arsenal, your ability of the, least amount of skill or least amount of weaknesses that you have at hand. Can you do every move? Meaning right shoulder, left shoulder, shimmy left, shimmy right, half spin left, full spin right in terms of shots, not dribbles. Left spin shot. Has he right pull up? So has he left pull up? Step back left, step back right, side step. Left twinkle toes, whatever the case is. Step back shot again. Floater with the left hand, floater with the right hand. Wrong foot lay, left. What's it called? Regular foot lay. Wrong foot shot in the gaps, right? Regular off one-legged shots, right? There's a whole bunch of shots. You know what I mean? One dribble pull up, two dribble pull up, one dribble pull up to the left, one dribble pull up to the right. You know what I mean? A drifter, as in a fadeaway to the right off the screen, off the curl. Fadeaway to the left off the screen, off the curl. Split the defense, one dribble pull up in the gap. You know what I'm saying? Crossover, right to left pull, left to right pull. Reverse spin, reverse pivot. You add all these. We look at the unlimited type of bag. The deeper your bag goes, that's where we go with the most skilled. So it doesn't really compile and take into account, field goal percentages. And this kind of just, I know is kind of seeing, what's he talking about, whatever. Just follow with me as much as you can. And when you follow that, you can kind of see that, okay, once you understand the differentiation in both, right, then you can understand that, okay, let me now rate the greatest score. Let me now know how we rating this and rate everything accordingly. How are we scaling this, right? So like I said, greatest score compiles efficiency, skill, and everything in one. And when you do that, there's something to be said about KD's game, Kevin Durant, right? You have to understand that, like, one, he's a 3-level scorer. One, he's 7 foot, so his body type, all of that, right? And the efficiency, like, if you look, the last 9 years, he shot 50% or better from the field. And KD's game, he's taking majority jump shots. Barely is he just running into the paint. That's rarely. Like, if he was to take 10 field goals in this game, like, 2 or 3 of them is in the paint. And even out of those 2 or 3, it might be a floater or like a pull-up, like on the elbow block that his foot's in the paint. So he technically is taking like 70% of his shots are jump shots. So 50% on that is different than, like a LeBron or a Giannis or, or a Zion 50%. Those are strictly mainly paint. And maybe 20% out of his, if he was to take 10 shots, would be outside the paint, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, that's why KD's efficiency is celebrated and is just reckless. It's actually reckless. Then you compile the 3-point percentages. He's basically 50. His whole career, he's basically 50, 40, 90 almost. What is it? It's like 50, 38, 88. He's almost 50, 40, 90 for his career. This is career, stats. When you look at it from that perspective, man, that just tells you everything. Then not only that, we understand the efficiency and stuff like that. Jordan obviously probably comes to mind when people say the greatest scorer. My 4, what I normally have, greatest and skilled. They're interchangeable. It's just how you rank them on the list is different. But the greatest and the most skilled, I have both are, I have Kobe, MJ, KD, Kyrie. And then, but depending on the greatest first skilled, my order changes. But those are the 4 that I have simultaneously in both. You know what I'm saying? So like that already. And if you know, if you're Pierce, those 4, those are the Mount Rushmore of scoring. Those 4 right there. But, before I even, talk about that or whatever the case is, and I'm just I don't want to sidetrack, but the main thing really is, especially when it comes to KD's ability and it comes to KD period, right? You add the efficiency, you add all those type of things. We already know that. But then in terms of the greatest, like you see MJ, like I was saying, MJ, like, his efficiency, all of that type of stuff is on the par with KD. Obviously, Kobe's, I think he's the most skilled player of all time. But his efficiency, when you add that into the greatest score, his efficiency, you can see he's 46 for his whole career and stuff like that. And even whole career can kind of be skewed because especially for Kobe. His whole career is out of context, especially when he first came into the league. He wasn't really getting touches. He was kind of like off the bench, like it wasn't the same context and situation for the latter years of his career, you know what I mean, in terms of his prime and when he was younger and whatever. And then Shaq, and then now he had a shortened term of being the main guy without being a Shaq, right? So like that's why his numbers, and still within that, he averaged 25 points per game for his whole career, and KD is 27, right? But, and obviously Michael Jordan is 30, but it's not just about stats. I'm just bringing up stats for the people who love stats so they can kind of understand. Obviously, people love eye tests, and this eye test tells you everything, or is everything for these categories that we're rated. But, you have to add a 1-2 stat in there just to, let and appeal to the other people that love stats and kind of won't understand things without the stats. So it's kind of just to let you know that it's not cap. It's not just, oh, he's just saying things because of the eye. It's both, right? So, again, MJ would be seen as a great scorer or greatest scorer and all that type of stuff. But if you look at his game, he didn't take that many threes. And I know if he was in this era, he would take more threes, and it's a different, you kind of advance your skill with the times at hand. But we have to just rate what we know. And what we know is Jordan didn't take a lot of threes at all, right? And his percentage from three wasn't the greatest. But, there's context behind that. But if we were just to analyze, MJ greatness and KD's greatness, Kobe again is in the skilled category, but it in unlimited. Like the man did a spin three left-handed. Like Kobe's skills number one, so that's not even out the question. But in terms of greatest, his efficiency is a bit lower, so I know that's gonna hinder him, and it's gonna hard to overcome the guys who have your type of bag. Maybe not as deep, but only like 1-2 level, not as deep. But they have way higher, not way, but decent higher efficiency. Actually, field goal percentage is high in terms of a whole career. There's a lot of makes, or in percentages, it kind of like it does more context, and it's a lot when you stretch that 3-point percent out to, or 3% out to a whole career span, right? It's a lot of misses, makes, whatever the case is, right? So, but again, now when you look at KD in terms of just the ability and just compiling the field goal percentage, comparable with MJ, basically identical, but KD's majority shots. MJ's also majority shots, but he was finessing and was his airness, obviously. But what makes it more elite in terms of for MJ is that, space and all that type of stuff, this, that, and the third benefits MJ because it was hella clogged. The shit was hella clogged and it still shot 50%. But for KD, the reason why, I'm leaning towards him being the greatest scorer of all time, and it's when you take everything, you can break down the game. Oh, MJ had this bag, KD had this bag, whatever. You can go back and forth, right? But the main thing is, and this is what Gilbert Arenas was also saying, and I've always been trying to highlight this from time for people understanding KD's off-ball ability. KD, the fact that he's able to be an off-ball specialist and an off-ball elite man, score on ball, like he's able to average his 27 to 30, 26, whatever, high efficiency, elite scoring, be a top 10, whatever score in the league every year, even if he's on Golden State with Clay and with Steph, guys who were both averaging above 20, right, who were a 1-2 punch beforehand. Same thing with Westbrook and Harden. He's still averaging, the same thing. And this is him, and he has the lower usage rate out of all of them, right? Then you now throw it over when he's in Brooklyn with James Harden and Kyrie. Still the same thing. Like wherever he goes, you go to Olympics. Wherever KD goes, he's able to be that efficient, elite bucket getter, an elite scorer in 3 levels and always unlimited ability, but able to still play off ball and have the same impact he did as if he had on ball or he was ball handling. And that's something that there hasn't been any scorer in this league that has matched that KD level in terms of ability with the ball and ability without the ball. And that's why you can see, and it's a testament, and people aren't paying attention, but eventually, like when it's all said and done, especially for KD's career, you're going to see, yes, the Golden State move, yes, the Nets move, and obviously him being in OKC with a big three, all these elite teams and elite players he's played with, which he has played with Hall of Famers and elite players and elite talent, people are going to look at it as, oh my God, his rings don't count and this, and isolating it individually. But in the grand scheme of things, the canvas that he's painting in terms of KD is actually establishing that no scorer has scored like me in terms of like I'm scoring as much and close to as much as the guys who have the ball all the time or majority of the times. And I'm doing that without the ball. Guys who are around me eat. Everybody eats. People have their career highs or close to it, even when I'm close to my career high. Like, you know, when I'm eating, men are still eating with me. I can go in all these different situations and eat no matter what on the most limited amount of shots and for that ability. Like, he's building a canvas here that's showing you, like, he's giving you more sample size and more situations to show you why he's the greatest scorer of all time, as opposed to MJ. It's the one situation. I'm the number one option. I don't really have a bucket getter with me like that. Even though Scottie Pippen got buckets and stuff like that here and there. Not here and there. He scored average 20 points, 22, whatever. But he wasn't a skilled scorer like that. So by default, it wasn't a 1A, 1B option. It was literally a 1 and a 2 option. While, you know, you see KD having a 1A, 1B option with him and Russ, right? Because Russ, you know, ball handling, and Russ is even ball handling, and, you know, that whole dynamic of KD has to wait till he gives it to him to get it. So he's actually, and still leading score, still eating. Same thing with a big three when he had Harden there. Nothing changes. Goes to Golden State with a big three with Steph and Clay. Nothing changes. Goes to the Olympics. He's a number one Olympic scorer, you know, and nothing changes. Goes to Brooklyn. Nothing definitely changes. So it's like you're seeing him in situation after situation after situation where most people only play in the one situation. Most of the elites play only in the one situation, the one type of role, the one type of, you know, niche that they found. And then they snap and their stats are flooded in that situation. Sit back. There's a guy who's not too far off from you and might even have better numbers or similar numbers, but he's in how many different situations where most guys in all those situations, their stuff will decrease drastically, or they will fail and it wouldn't work and it won't be, you know what I mean? And yet KD's building the perfect canvas. It's like, to people's eyes, they kind of see it in hindsight. Oh my goodness, KD joined, rings on this, all the, and they're bashing him with that, but they're not seeing the bigger picture and the grand scheme overall in the game. But when it's all said and done, this is something that could be said. KD could be the best overall, best or greatest scorer of all time. When you look at the plethora of ways he showed you he could score in different dynamics, different situations, like that's only a testament and only a positive type of lens that shows you that, yo, KD's really that guy. Like, he's different. He's big time different. So, you know, when you look at it, it's just, and then the efficiency to match that, and it's like, god damn, like KD, he's something special, man, because you've seen him when he didn't have the other guy with him or the PG not with him ball handling. He had to be the ball handler. Like, you've seen it MVP year. You've seen it in games 5 through 7, right? What he did, like he could average 50 doing that. You've seen it, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't force the game. He plays within the offense. He lets it come to him. One catch and shoot, catch, pump fake, one dribble pull up, run off the down screen. Like, he's just playing off ball. Like, he's doing it all, man. Doing it all. And then ball handle here and there and get it. But, like, it's just crazy, man. And I look at that. Yes, MJ was elite, supreme, hella elite, and Kobe hella elite in their scoring. But when you sit back, they've only scored in that one way. Right? Obviously, Kobe still, it's not like Kobe didn't play off ball or MJ didn't play off ball either. They played in the triangle. You have to play off ball. You know, that's how the triangle moves. But they played in that one triangle type of offense where they thrived. Obviously, Kobe played in different offenses and whatever, and even MJ as well too. But it's that one situation where not necessarily the offense and how they're scoring necessarily, but the context of the team and the situation where I'm the number one go-to scorer and, you know, it has to be me, especially like we've seen Kobe play with Shaq, where it's another dominant number one option maybe, and you've seen Kobe in the playoffs average 30, right? Stuff like that, like matched with Shaq scoring while playing off the ball, while playing on the ball. Like, you've seen that dynamic. Michael Jordan, it's always he's the number one option, and in reality, in this era, Scottie Pippen would actually be the third, fourth option. If Michael Jordan had a talented team like you do normally have in this era, Scottie Pippen is not going to be the second option. Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a knock against Scottie. It's just assessing the games and understanding, you know, how just the skill, understanding the skill and just rating everything accordingly. And, when you look at it from that perspective, Michael Jordan was always in a number one OD option where it has to be me. It has to be me. Guaranteed shots that high. Like, KD's shots aren't even guaranteed all the time when, let's say, Harden is going off, right? Westbrook is going off, or Westbrook is now dictated. Steph is going off. Clay is going off. Like, KD will go 9 for 11, 7 for 8, and still have 25. Like, it's crazy. That's why he's able to play wherever. And, I don't want to be redundant explaining this, but I have to, because this is one of the most underrated, I've always said it from time, one of the most underrated skill sets from a superstar or a star or a Hall of Fame or a grade or whatever the case is. Like, people don't actually understand and rate and highlight the fact that KD plays off the ball 70, 60, whatever. Like, his usage rate ain't high, 60% of the time. Like, he's majority off the ball, coming off a down screen, coming off a pin down, coming off a curl, coming off a flare, coming off a staggered, whatever the case is. Spotting up, catch and shoot, right? Then going into the post, sometimes ball handle. Rarely does he just bring it up and come. If he does bring it up, has he pulled? Like, he's still scoring within 5-7 seconds. It's not like he holds the ball OD. Like, when you add all of these factors, it's crazy that, it's just crazy that it's being underrated, the fact that KD does this and scores like this. And that's what I've been trying to say. Like, that's one of the most elite things about KD is the fact that he could play however, man. And that's a testament to his ability, to his arsenal, his height, his skill set, his marksmanship, all of it. All of it. You know what I mean? And he's like, and he doesn't even get credit for how great of a shooter he is as well, too, because the efficiency on majority shots. So, and it'd be splashy, if you ask me. You know what I mean? So, bro, it's just crazy. Like, when I look at it and I sit back, I just think that KD is going to go down as the greatest scorer of all time. I think he already is. You know what I'm saying? Just from just looking at the situation, just diving deeper. Most people don't look at it. They just look at, oh, MJ averaged 30, KD's averaging 27 for his career. No, MJ's the better scorer. Or if some people want to use the eye test, oh my goodness, he's just shooting. MJ's shooting. He has unlimited. You see the half spin or the shimmy, the left fade, right shoulder, left shoulder, right shoulder. Sorry, you know what I mean. All of those type of pulls. And then you look at KD. Obviously, you look at the skills well too. But then you go further and go deeper is what I'm saying, and understand the situation. Would MJ really be averaging 30 if he had another guy who could average 30 or 27 or 25? Like, that's the question. Would he be able, you know what I mean? Would he be able to still thrive? And we didn't see that. Doesn't mean he can't, but we didn't see that. So you got to rate and give more credit and boost the guy where you saw that from. You know what I mean? You have to go from what you see and analyze what you see. And KD's just different, man. KD's different. So I think that he is the greatest scorer of all time till right now, till this day. I think he's been the best player in the league for a minute, for a long time. For me, I think it was probably the MVP year when KD cooked LeBron. They both were battling, and KD cooked him. And you seen LeBron's points was a lot of paint, majority paint. And KD was cooking him off straight ability, just abuse, no excuse, and took the MVP from him because literally that was like the last quarter of the season. It was probably one of the last 10 games. I remember it was the OKC versus Heat. OKC didn't have, it was just, there was no Westbrook and it was KD, right? And it was his MVP season. And that's literally when he took the MVP from him. I think it was 2014. So ever since then, in my eyes, KD's been the best player because, again, winning and all that stuff is situational. I look at the ability. I look at about what weakness do you have, the limited amount of weaknesses, or, are you that unlimited that you have no weakness? And that's what I've been saying. And, KD just proved that time because his passing increased, his rebounding increased, his defense increased, all came to full circle and came together at the same time. So that's when I know KD was the best player. But again, these guys go by narratives and a lot of things, a lot of things is a lot of things. But at the end of the day, KD's the greatest scorer of all time. I know it's going to sound outlandish because, oh my God, how you can pass MJ, whatever. That's why I give the context, because I give it that context. Listen to the whole video. Understand, man. Understand all of that. And understand why I'm saying what I'm saying and how I'm breaking it down and what it means to be the greatest versus skilled and all of that. So, let's go on to the next. Let's go on to the next, man.